into this race on September 20th. So there was a chilling effect that I saw. I was aware of this back in March and April that went out around the state. There was a big event. A lot of folks around the state were organized, showed up to support our sitting senator. And it came out of that, and I saw this article somewhere online. I haven't seen it in quite a while. But I'm bringing it up now because that chilling effect went out, and effectively they said, hey, look at all these people who went to his event that endorsed him. And it turned out that most of the people that went to that event did not endorse him. They just used his name and they misspoke on that, right? But then you watch them all summer long and you don't see, there's no candidates, statewide office holders, people with political elected experience, people inside the party that could have the money and backing to run a statewide race. That didn't happen, right? There were people that ran before that could have done it, that I liked before, great candidates. There were people that, former congressmen that could have run that are great candidates, would have been a great candidate, and nothing was going on. So fast forward now to September 20th, I'm looking around and I'm like, I cannot go through another election cycle and support a senator who is not voting my values, he's not voting values of the Republican Party, he's not voting the values of the people of Illinois across both sides of the aisle. So that's why I got in, and some people say it's late, but a candidate like me, if I had tried to do this earlier, trust me, I would have been shut down, it wouldn't have happened. So there was a reason, I think, that I waited, and part of it was, you know, thinking about it, part of it was I wasn't really that guy, the serious guy that was going to hop in the middle of summer, because I wasn't that person, as everyone knows. I'm not the elected official that's out there that could go run because I had name recognition. I don't have money in the bank to run a campaign. I don't have big funders behind me at that stage, and even now we're working on that. I think we will get that. I think that's going to be coming. There are people that are now taking notice, coming up and saying, we need to fix not only the state of Illinois, the federal government, we need to fix this country. We're going in the wrong direction on many fronts. Starting with back in the fall after I got in, so all these wonderful votes happened after I got into the race. Number one, Senator Mark Kirk, Senator Olympia Snowe of Maine, both voted with the Democrat Party not to stand against defunding Planned Parenthood. So first issue that happens after I get in, that's number one. Number two, sanctuary cities. Senator Kirk, the lone Republican, even Olympia Snowe didn't join him on that one, the lone Republican that would not vote to stop sanctuary city funding. After that, they had what they called it was being dubbed the trick-or-treat bill, which was basically a bill that was going to fund the rest of the government for the rest of this year or last year, and now the rest of this year. And then you saw that bill, you know, once it got all the way through, they just voted again. And even our congressmen around the state of Illinois were voting with the Democrats and our new leader in the party on this bill that they didn't challenge anything. They didn't get anything for the people of, you know, the United States, the people of Illinois, or the Republicans who they were supposed to be representing. So we have representatives out there that don't want to represent the people who elect them. So here I am, that's why I get in. I want to make sure that there's a choice on this ballot. So yes, I got in to disturb the plan they had to not allow that to happen. On the budget, I want to talk a little bit. So our senator has, you read his website, he looks like he's this great fiscal responsible hawk on the budget, right? He says he wants a balanced budget. He's for a balanced budget. Well, I got a message for him. Why don't you vote against spending and spending bills that have debt in them that we don't need? Why don't we vote to take some things out instead of putting petitions on the internet saying, support my balanced budget? Let's take it out of the budget and you vote on it. That's your job. That's what you were hired to do. We need someone who will stand up and not vote for bills unless we bring them down to bills that are done for specific purposes, for specific items. No more omnibus votes. I'm not going to vote for anything like that ever. We're going to do it the right way. And if I'm the only one doing that, I'm still going to not vote for them. We need to get people on board around this country, congressmen and senators, to start voting for budgets that are real budgets, not passing a blank check that's bankrupting our children, bankrupting our potential future grandchildren someday. Those kind of things are bankrupting us now, you and me now. We need to stop that nonsense. On that note, we have this thing called the Affordable Care Act. I call it the Unaffordable Care Act. I know, I'm a small businessman. I've been running my own software consulting company. I have a national and international practice. I've consulted at many companies around the state of Illinois, including places. I've worked at factories in Granite City. I've worked at factories in Des Plaines, in Lansing, Illinois. Worked at companies out of Chicago, DeKalb, Illinois. I've actually been at plants and worked a brief time at some plants in Champaign, at Watseka, in Effingham, and a few along I-50 over my career of doing my business, my job. And I can tell you that small business owners could be a farmer, could be someone who owns a hair salon, etc., tax consultant, etc. Those of us who shop in the formerly free health insurance market know that the Unaffordable Care Act has cost us, in my case, over 100% in 4 years, not counting this year because I've been a little busy. I haven't added up this year's increase to tell you what percent we're at now, to the tune of over $7,000 new money I have to pay for the same coverage. And by the way, I have 2 adult children who are no longer covered under that insurance. So we went from 6 to 4, yet I'm paying $7,000 more a year annually. That's more than we're paying. I can't afford it, and I know the small business folks that have to shop for insurance, and that, which was a free market before that. We used to shop every year. We used to go around and say, what's the best rates, what's the best plans? You can't do that now under this. You can't switch plans. You're stuck with the plans they want you to have. So that is a tax on everybody. For the few people that actually did benefit from that, there are so many other ways we could have done that. Tort reform, portability of insurance across state lines, portability of insurance from employer to employee, so that if you're no longer an employee, that policy can go with you. These are things that this Congress and other Congresses for all of my adult life have been kicking down the road, ideas that have been talked about for dozens of years, decades, and our Congress sits around and they won't act on anything. And they do it so that they can pass these crazy, by the way, unconstitutional laws on many fronts. First of all, on the constitutional front, the ACA is an affront to religious liberty. It's got things in there that now we are forced to participate in, whether we like it or not, and that's number one. There are groups that are suing, the courts aren't doing their job, they're making up law, they're inventing new ways to say this law is constitutional, and they're not following the Constitution. We need to fix it. It's not constitutional under the guise of the tax they said it was, and we need to rein in not only the law and get rid of it, repeal it, we need to rein in our justice system. And guess what? The United States Congress has that authority. They haven't used it, they aren't acting, and they don't use it. We need a voice out there of someone who's going to tell them what authority we have, and we're going to use it to rein in that court. Because the Congress has the authority to rein in the court. We need to use it. There are so many other things I could go on and talk about. In my day job, I kind of talk all day for a living now. I used to actually do real work, but and mine was more virtual than real. I like to get out there and do my own things. I'm kind of a hands-on kind of guy. I want to mention, so my wife and I live in Oswego, Kendall County. We grew up in Bartonville, Illinois, Peoria County down here, just down the road. Finished raising our 4 children in Oswego, so they're ages 19 to 27. We celebrated our 30th anniversary this summer, and due to a number of things, my job in the summer, and then me getting into some crazy United States Senate race here, didn't have much of a chance to celebrate that. Coming up this week, we're going to Washington, D.C., not so much as a vacation trip, but a business trip for this campaign, to meet with some folks that can help us with this campaign and help us and help me get on through this primary and take a sitting senator out who is not doing the job he was elected to by the people he was elected to, and he's not representing our state very well. And so we need your support to tell folks to get out there and vote. People don't know there's a primary. You need to get people that will get out there and vote in that primary, get them out there. We'll have signs and literature coming. All of those things, as you know, cost money. So I thank you very much for showing up today and contributing to my campaign. I can't thank you enough. But more importantly now, go out there and spread the word. If you're on social media, like the Facebook page, and then also invite other people like it. That gets more traction out there. If you know folks, talk about, one of the other things that I got in to do this is, people don't talk about politics and religion. Why? Because we have a culture that tries to shut you down from that. They're trying to shut us down from talking about it. These are our first and fundamental freedoms in the First Amendment of the United States Constitution. We need to defend those things. We need to leverage them and use them. Let's start talking to people that don't agree with it. Why are you for that? Why do you not agree with this? And be respectful, but we need to do that. Get people out there, get them engaged. Oh, and I missed one thing, so I better talk about it. So, Constitution, Second Amendment. Number 2, without the Second Amendment, we don't have the 5 rights that are enumerated in the first Constitution. And our president thinks that he can take a pen out and change the Constitution. Our sitting senator doesn't seem to have a problem with that, because I didn't hear him make any statements about that. In fact, he's got an F rating from the NRA. He believes that without due process, you shouldn't have a right to keep and bear arms. So I believe you need due process, and you have a right to keep and bear arms, and if there's not a due process, that is your right, and it's in the Second Amendment. It's clear as a bell. We need to make sure that we have folks in Washington that understand the Constitution, and we need folks out there explaining that to other folks that need to understand it. But please help out, get the vote out on March 15th, 66 days, I believe, to go. Again, thank you very much. Thank you, Barb, for organizing this, and all the folks that came out today. I can't thank you enough for being here. I will take questions. Yes,
Anybody have a question for James?
What is Kirk's approval rating? Do you know any polling on it?
I did see one poll that someone published on an article. I don't remember which article it was. It could have been Illinois Review. It could have been one of the other ones like that. This was over a month ago, just after I got on the ballot. And there was another person on the ballot, and she's no longer on the ballot. If you want to know about her and why she was on the ballot, why she's not off, the Illinois Review did a really good article about her filing. Let's just say she didn't follow any of the rules. It would have been an embarrassment for the Illinois State Board of Elections if they would have allowed her to be on that. By the way, and that remind me to get back to your question. By the way, that's a state issue, but the way they do that is a little crazy. If someone doesn't object, if you just file your petitions and nobody objects, you can do everything wrong and you can still be on the ballot. And that's what would have happened with her if someone didn't object. So that's part of the state law, that there should be procedural things where they actually just take people off that didn't do it right. And they should have done that. Nobody should have to object. We should have known that on December 1, not January 7th. So the State Board of Elections did their job. They followed the process. And they did a great job doing that. And the objectors did their part to make sure that someone who didn't follow the rules to get on the ballot was. And I like that process because it makes candidates go around the state and meet real voters and get out there, unless they have paid circulators like my opponent, who didn't really get out there and get as many signatures. Back to the question. What was the question? I tangented it off.
Yeah, I suspect his support is pretty shallow.
So the poll that was published, this was over a month ago now, I think, Yeah, I think he had 37% support. 56 was undecided in that poll because people didn't know me, didn't know the other person